Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this episode of the Dan Dawson Show. So, for those few of you who actually got to see my last video, YouTube does not approve. It is what it is. It's their platform, it's their business. I don't get involved in such things. So, I decided I'm going to redo the video. A softer side of Dan Dawson. With that softer side, I have to say this. I have this friend, Mike. Me and Mike talk all the time. So Mike called me today and Mike is like, hey Dan, Oregon decided to legalize cocaine, meth, and heroin. He said, aren't you worried? I said, no, Mike, I'm not worried. He's like, really, Dan? I was like, no, because Dan knows math. You see, when Dan went to school, Dan actually paid attention. I know math. And here's what I know about math. Math is always real. It's tangible. So when Mike asked me that, I said, no, I'm not worried, Mike. I know math. And then he goes, but you live in a blue state. It's like, yeah, I do, Mike. And Mike goes, but Dan, you can't drive through Seattle without seeing homeless encampments. And Mike's right, because as soon as you enter Seattle, you see homeless encampments all along the side of the 5 freeway. It goes far into the next city. It goes past the University of Washington. And Mike said, Dan, aren't you worried? I said, no, Mike. Dan knows math. And then he said, but Dan, Chaz and Chop are getting out of control. I was like, you know what? You're right, Mike. He goes, doesn't that worry you? I said, no, Mike. That doesn't worry Dan. Dan is good because Dan knows math. So, Mike goes on to say, it's like, well, you're near Portland. Portland's only a couple hours away, people, from where I live. And he goes, you're very near to Vancouver. I'm like, yeah. And Mike goes, but they've been having riots there. Aren't you worried, Dan? I was like, no. Hey, Mike, I'm not worried, man. I know math. Kids in school, make sure you pay attention to your math teacher. Mike said, but Dan, crime is spiking in Seattle. It's spiking in Washington State. It's spiking in Oregon. It's spiking in California. You're surrounded by crime and criminals. And I said, Mike, I'm not worried at all, brother. And he goes, Dan, but don't you understand, Dan, that Washington State is going to reduce their prison population by 33% regardless of the crimes? I said, no. Mike, I'm not worried. Mike goes, Dan, what is going on? Why aren't you worried? I was like, I'm not worried. He goes, but Seattle and Washington State usually follow Seattle, Dan, has just voted to legalize a lot of misdemeanor crimes. It's like, I know, Mike. And he goes, Dan, you don't understand. Your girlfriend or daughter could be walking down the street. Somebody could molest them on the street. Or show themselves to her on the street. Reveal their private parts on the street. Aren't you worried, Dan? I said, no, Mike, I'm good, man. I'm not worried. Not worried at all. And he goes, Dan, why aren't you worried? It's like, because I know math. Mike goes, but Dan, everything is falling in around you. Are you not looking around these cities? Are you not seeing what's going on? The rule of law and order has fallen. And I said, okay. He goes, aren't you worried about that, Dan? It's like, why should I be? He goes, well, look where you live. You're in the middle of the chaos. And I told Mike, not worried. I know math. See, ladies and gentlemen, as Freemasons, we realize how important math is. And as a believer, I know what God said. See, God places his angels in the middle of chaos to bring justice, peace, and order. Dan doesn't worry. Dan knows math. So when me and Mike were having this conversation, Mike is like, Dan, I don't get why you're not worried. And you know what I told him? I said, Mike, Dan knows math. And he goes, Dan, what kind of math do you know? And all I said was 16 plus 1. Think about it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this episode of The Dan Dawson Show. Like, subscribe, share. Do what you got to do.